Hello and welcome to Film Slam Stream's post-film conversation for Subscribe/Follow. My name is Eric Siler, and I'm an instructor of film, media arts, and communications, as well as moderator for this conversation. We're very pleased to be joined by the director of Subscribe/Follow, Faroukh Virani. Faroukh Virani is an LA-based director who edits and moves between narrative and documentary formats. He has a background in film production at USC School of Cinematic Arts and NYU's Tisch School of the Arts. Hello, Faroukh, and welcome.
Hello, everyone. Yeah, happy to be here, and thanks for inviting me. Yes.
Oh, it's so great to have you here and to talk about this film. Let's just get right into it. Can you tell us a little bit about the inspiration to this film? Do you actually know an influencer, and did you base it around a particular influencer?
Yeah, yes. I mean, in the time after the unfortunate murder of George Floyd, there was obviously a lot of um, activism, and then the Black Lives Matter movement was really gaining a lot of there's a lot of anger and frustration around that moment, and I think a lot of us we're feeling a lot of emotions, and obviously I'm sort of South Asian American of Indian background, so my experience sort of removes me from the moment a bit. But I remember joining those protests and speaking out as many communities did. But yeah, there was a social media influencer who was kind of speaking to Indian people specifically, um, that I found on Instagram, and he gained a lot of popularity, and he went kind of viral at that moment. But again, his main purpose was to speak to, I think, Indian communities and remind us why, as another minority group in America, why it was important for us to kind of show solidarity with the Black Lives Matters movement. And there was a hashtag that was being used, South Asians for Black Power, was sort of the banner that a lot of us were discussing under. Anyway, so again, that influencer maybe didn't have some of the same fictional background of the one in the film, but he was somebody who I looked to when writing the script.
Okay, so that's interesting. With the Indian culture and the Black culture, uh, you show in the film some resistance about getting involved. Uh, I guess that translates in real life. I guess, did you receive any kind of resistance about doing a story like this of being of Indian descent?
Uh, yes, and again, not to be naive or kind of but just speaking from like kind of honest experience that I had. I think a lot of my parents' generation, my parents, moved from India in 1970, and there's that immigrant idea that you have to work really hard and sort of when you moved here, work hard, fit in, and the idea of the civil rights movement, protest, speaking out. Those are things that maybe I'm just speaking for myself. That I think, and from what I've heard, like a lot of Asian immigrant families, it's not comfortable for us to challenge America because we just want to come here and like kind of try to raise families, gain some income, and maybe speaking out to authorities or police or or seeming like a problem at all. Like, well, we're just terrified. So anyway, so when I was speaking to my mom, I said I'm going out today to the BLM protest in LA, and I went out a couple days, and one it was during the pandemic, and but just two in general. And my mom, she was not somebody who grew up with the idea of like I said, resistance and protest. I mean, and there's some roots in India, but here in America, it's not something she did because one she didn't want to maybe like jeopardize what she had kind of worked hard for to build here in America. And she I don't know, again, no one's gonna come after her, but she was just scared. Anyway, but I told her that it's something we all, as I understood, I started to like, I think a lot of us kind of started to read more and try to get more informed, and there was conversations online and on Twitter, on Instagram. There was Zoom conversations, and from what I learned, from what I understood, it's the civil rights movement and the struggles of African Americans sort of opened the door to for Asian Americans as another minority group to come over. Even I think maybe, if I'm correct, Latino Americans to sort of work hard and find like a path. The yeah, if I understood, the African American civil rights movement um, sort of shook the system enough to, and then actually I think America brought over Asian Americans um, in the 60s as recruited people as engineers and doctors and other professionals from other countries to sort of almost like drive a wedge between Asian American and African American groups. Like we were the model minorities. Like, look, Asian Americans are working hard, building a life, like maybe to sort of quiet the civil rights movement. Anyway, so I tried to like talk to my mom around some of these things I was speaking about, like the opportunities that we came over with, and why we should continue the fight. And it was hard. I don't normally talk to my mom about social issues, but I think some good progress came out of it between my family. Yes.
Great. That's good to know. So, what was the point behind making this film, knowing that you, how your culture responds to speaking out, and knowing what's your connection with the influence of what were you trying to what was your overall point of this film?
Oh, I think yeah, like at that time, there was a lot of different voices and opinions online. I think we were all looking for direction and space, guidance. How do we navigate this moment? Like, what's the correct way to be an activist, to show solidarity with BLM? And I found that some people, there's also a lot of like uncertainty online. Like, what's the best sort of charities to donate with, or what are the correct marches to go to? Because maybe some charities might be aligned with the police in certain ways, and yeah, I think there was just like at that moment, if people remember, I think there's a day where we posted like a black square in solidarity, and if you saw a black square on somebody's Facebook or Instagram, it showed that there was like you're showing that you're a part of the movement. But then they also, at that time, then that also got critiqued, or people were like, that's not the right way to speak out, because they're like, and then you're just posting a black square, and that could be space where you're actually like allowing space for BLM voices instead of just posting this empty square. So they're like, you use the space to amplify and highlight true messages around what's police brutality, the way some of these things are being silenced in these communities, the atrocities against certain communities. Anyhow, I was just saying that like we were all trying to figure out the correct way to do this online, and who was sort of a true voice of solidarity. Some people were just sort of doing it not as a trend, but some people were just like, I'm everybody's speaking out about this, I'm going to say something. And some people were less informed. But it was like, it felt like a movement, and the energy of BLM, like we all wanted to get involved. So in my film, it's like, he's not a bad character, Vinny, the main character on social media, but I think he's just, he's feeling something in the moment. He wants to speak out online. Maybe he does some quick research, and like I think that was sort of my path. It's like I think some people were like, we're doing what, as I think as it was being called out, they were doing like virtue signaling, trying to show that they have good virtue, they have good morals. But what's really behind his social media presence? Is it true? Is it honest? Is he just doing it for to feel like, to make himself look like a better person online? Anyway, but in my opinion, he truly believes in his messaging, but he's just trying to find the correct words and correct information to put out there online. Yes.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the production itself, the process itself. Can you give us a quick overview on the process? How long did it take from writing the script to the final edit?
Yes. Sure. I had been thinking about the idea for the year, or in the couple months after, but especially the year after George Floyd's unfortunate incident, and it just kind of kept growing and changing the idea as I was seeing other uh, other conversation around this, and but I was just percolating with the idea, and then I told a friend about it, and I was like, I'd like to try to sort of create a film that talks around these issues and how I've been feeling. And Yeah, so a friend of mine encouraged me to write the script, and because I had been thinking about the feeling so long, I wrote the script in about 2 days, and then I sent it around to some colleagues and friends who I respect as their feedback and their opinions, and I sent it to. I mean, for what it's worth, I sent it to close friends who are African American, close Indian friends, other diverse cultural friends of mine. Anyway, I want to get a variety of viewpoints and see that because it's like it is obviously sensitive subject matter, and I wanted to make sure that I was sort of being responsible in the storytelling, and um, because it is sort of coming from a Indian American voice, like is it doing justice to just the conversation? And yeah, so it was about 2 days for the script. The shoot itself, I'm based here in LA. So that was like a 3-day shoot. I went to film school here at USC, and so I still have some colleagues. A friend who's a director of photography for the camera work, sound people, production designers, makeup artists. Anyway, there's like a group of people who I worked with. But shooting during the pandemic was less people might maybe available to crew. But I reached out to friends and I said, would you feel comfortable shooting during the pandemic? And we're going to follow all the COVID protocols. We had like the COVID officer on set to sort of ensure that everyone's either masking when they need to be, because all the crew is masking, the actors could take their masks off when it was time to shoot. I guess some of the other standards at the time, we have to take everybody's temperature when they arrive, ask people to test prior to the shoot and during the days of the shoot. So anyway, we followed all the protocols, and 3-day shoot. And then I'm an editor too, so the edit itself was about a month. I make it a first cut, and then I sent it around for some feedback, and then we had a few kind of visual effects or special effects shots that had to happen. So I provided like about a week or two for those shots to happen, and yeah. So I think in all it was maybe like a 2 or 3 month process. I had a friend compose some music, original music for the film, so I provided time for that, and then we did a final sound mix and color corrected it, and I was able to start submitting to some festivals, and I was able to screen for some festivals such as Cleveland International in this program in the year that followed. Yes.
Okay, great. We'll talk about the screen in a moment, but I have some questions about the actual production details. First of all, the casting. It was a really well done job of casting Vinny, Maya, Sheila, and so forth. How did you find Canal and Mira and Sharmita, the three main characters?
Yes. These are members of the Indian community, actors in the Indian community here in LA. And I actually sent it around to a couple of Indian actors who I've just come to know, and I've seen their work either on if they're doing theater, or if they're starting to get roles on television. So these are actors I followed, and I like their work, and we're sort of we're all kind of growing as artists together. And but anyway, I sent the script to the three of them, and I said, is this something that you'd be interested in? Is the message of the film, is that something that you feel like you want to get behind? Because I would want them to feel like it's their story too, and then if it kind of fits and resonates with their experience, that'd be great. But yeah, those three actors, and also the character who played Derek, they read it, and they said, yeah, I think I'd be happy to be part of the conversation in your movie. And then they actually told me that once they read the script, they're like, oh, something similar happened with me, where inside Indian families, like I found that either our parents or our grandparents like had to really like we had to try to put the older generation in the shoes of the BLM movement and why why this was such an important moment in U.S. history. The anger that was sort of just boiling over. Um, yeah, but anyway, so I was glad those actors supported the script, and I think a lot of people were not working or doing too many shows or during the pandemic, so they made the time, and we filmed over those weekends, and I was able to rehearse with them, I think once or twice on Zoom, which I try to do, which is basically just we just read through the script a couple of times and tried to point out um, any dialogue questions or ways to play certain emotions, and I was so happy to work with them. And then the story behind Derek, uh, who plays Sheila's sort of friend, and also the gentleman who challenges Vinny at the end. Yeah, Derek went to USC Film School with me, and he was an actor and also a director, writer director within the USC Film program, and we've kept in touch over the years. And Derek himself actually has a good online presence on Instagram and a good amount of followers. He had moved away from LA, and but I thought of him when I wrote the script, and I actually wrote the character. The character's name in the script was Derek, so I was hoping Derek would do it. Anyhow, I reached out to Derek, and he had since moved to Chicago, but I said, hey, would you consider flying out to LA? It would mean a lot to me if you be part of this film project. And yeah, he said like let me he said let's do it. He said what weekend, and he took time away from his film projects and his film. He teaches film in Chicago, but he came out, and that was really important. And again, he was like as a writer director himself, and he's a storyteller actor. He gave me a lot of great feedback, and we made a lot of some changes together based on his viewpoint on the script. And I try to be collaborative in that way, so all voices are included, and it's everybody's project at the end of the day. Even though I wrote the script, like the script will keep changing. Um, and yeah, no, I was so happy we all did it together, and then yeah, it was a good shoot and set. I think everybody really kind of tried to respect what we were doing. Um,
Exactly, having a buy-in from everyone is important in the success of a film. Yeah, just one clarification question. I noticed in the film, the character of Sheila called Vinny's mother mom. Was that as a sign of respect, or was there a connection between Sheila and Maya?
oh, I guess it varies, but I think my idea was that Vinny and Sheila had been dating for some time, and I think you kind of start to get close to that other family, whether you're calling them auntie, mom, less like not as much by name usually, but yeah, I was just trying to show that I was hopefully just trying to show that closeness, or give a hint of their relationship, and sometimes you can maybe do that with the way as simple as how we call each other. Anyhow, I was just trying to establish the kind of history of Sheila, and because yeah, because for Vinny's mom to be judging Sheila as well as if they have more relationship, maybe I thought it would hurt more. Not it doesn't hurt, but my mom doesn't understand Sheila either at that moment. So.
Exactly. Okay, that's what I thought. And one other point I just want to emphasize about the film is that the the other story, the story between the relationship between Vinny and Sheila, how Sheila was saying Vinny doesn't get it, she unfollows him and so forth. And that underlying story helped emphasize the main point of the story as well. And it kind of gave like a nice balance instead of just having it all the characters all on the same page and try to shove it down our throat. It was just nice to have that balance to still get the point across. So I thought that was well done. I just had a comment on that.
Great. Yeah, yeah. No, yeah. Yeah, I was hoping to show. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But again, yeah, I think even within the I'm sure across the US, everybody had a different kind of shade of how quickly they're connecting to the BLM movement, and where they land. So yeah, I was just trying to even show hopefully within the Indian group we're all yeah.
Yeah. Briefly, can you just explain the last shot? Excuse me, I'm sorry. The last shot to us with Derek just walking away from the house and down the street.
Yes. At the last scene of the film, Vinny and Derek chat, and Derek as an African American, he's not being critical of Vinny, but he's just telling Vinny like, hey, like I appreciate that you're trying to support this movement and you're trying to be on the right side of history. He's like, but maybe like kind of listen to more to the voices around you, like really take in the world and the true voices who are on the front lines, and the communities that are really being affected before you kind of speak out. Um, Anyhow, so the last shot, Vinny goes back into his house, which is, I mean, we picked that house specifically because it kind of has like shows like kind of a upper middle class, kind of privilege. Anyway, we want to show that Vinny, and not to underline it too much, but we're just trying to show that Vinny's going back into his suburban middle upper class home. If anything, Vinny's going to go back and maybe in his comfortable house, maybe rethink his social media. But we found that shot on the day where I was like, oh, what if we just well, because Derek was going to walk away anyway. Then when the camera just kind of followed, and we saw Derek walking away, and so me and my camera operator, direct DP friend, we were like, yeah, let's do this shot, because for us it felt like, um, yeah, there's something about just like the visual of Derek walking away that made sense. It's his sort of journey now, because we had kind of been in Vinny's footsteps for so much of the film. But yeah, it also just makes you wonder too, like what's next for Derek? Like, is he going back to a protest? Or what's he doing tomorrow? Is he hitting the streets? How is what does Derek's activism look like? Anyhow, but just the image of him walking with his protest posters and signs, and I think it was just like a nice visual reminder that, for the affected communities, of these systemic, problems. I don't know. It was not my place to say, but it feels like Derek's walk continues, and it can be a long walk, that we're all still, you know, moving forward on. Yes.
Exactly, and that the story continues, and you just went right from the end of the film to the credits, and it's still continuing. You kept us there, and you were telling the viewers, look, you know, issues are still happening. It doesn't end with this film; it's going to continue. So, well done with that. I know we're like over time, but just a couple of quick points, real quick. Tell us about the reception of the film, and also tell us what you're up to next.
Yes. Yeah. In the year and a half or so after completing the film, I went to a couple of different kinds of film festivals, and yeah, as the audience may know, or the viewers may know, there's like regional film festivals and also kind of cultural film festivals, and part of the audience, or the types of festivals I went to, were kind of obviously general film festivals. Like Cleveland International is like, obviously, it's amazing to be included here. I played a Portland Film Festival. I forget where else, but then in terms of regional, there's like Los Angeles Asian Pacific Film Festival. It's a couple of others. There's an Indian Film Festival in San Francisco, an Indian Film Festival in Vancouver, just to name a couple. But anyhow, but I tried to go to each festival if I was able to, and yeah, the film is like one thing, and I'm very grateful when we work hard on a movie to find an audience and to find a screen to play it on. But the conversations after the film were like a huge component and a more important part. It's almost like the you watch a movie, and then maybe when there was like DVD or Blu-ray, you listen to the director commentary. And for me, that was really important because like there's a whole conversation around the film. Anyway, but like I usually play in short film groups at a lot of these festivals. So in a lot of other short films, like I think other people were talking around similar but different topics. Anyhow, but the good conversation was prompted after the screenings, and a couple of families came up to me, and there's one family at one of the festivals, and it was a mother, and she came up to me and she said, oh, I came to this festival with my 16-year-old daughter, and this is something we've been trying to talk about in our home, because I think her daughter wanted to have an online presence and an online voice in activism. And not that my film was going to solve any problems or fix any problems, but if anything, maybe it helped that mom and daughter talk about it. But I had a few conversations with people like that, and anyway, all that to say is that we take the time to make these shorts and these movies, and if we can find an audience, and if we can find viewers and audience members who it touches or affects in some way, that's sort of what yeah, I just wanted my personal experience to connect to others' personal experience, and what was like a really, I mean, which continues to be, it was a dark time for the US, and I think it's still divided us in some way that we're feeling today in our politics, and maybe even deepen some ties with MAGA and different things. Anyway, but that being said, so yeah, I'm grateful for the audiences I found, and there were some good conversations that happened. So
Great. And what's next for you? What can we expect to see from you next?
oh, I'm working on another film now, speaking more to I'm a Muslim American, and issues of being a Muslim American and sort of fitting in, which is like, it's a sort of micro problem of its own, but along the years growing up in Texas, and spent some time in Atlanta and Kentucky, I faced different um, perception of me as a Muslim American, and yeah, I think like sometimes there can be grouping with other groups, and not that there's like uh, more conservative or Muslims. But anyway, I just want to show that we are Americans and we fit in, where we want the same things that all Americans do. And yeah, so the film sort of touches on that, and about a Muslim American family fitting in to their community after they immigrate. So yeah, I'm working on that, and hopefully in the next year or so I'll have that completed.
Well, good luck. Good luck with the completion of that. Faroukh Virani, director of Subscribe / Follow. Thank you so much for joining us. Congratulations on this film, and wish you all the best with the future endeavors.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, and thanks for everyone here was able to view the film and this conversation. I hope it was meaningful to you. Thank you. Yes.
And thank you to our audience for joining us for this important and invigorating conversation. For more information about our upcoming film festival, please visit us at clevelandfilm.org. I'm Eric Siler. Thank you.